let's examine how not to quit. Now, this is a deep subject, so let's take one bite of it right now. What's a good way to ensure that you won't quit on yourself the next time you say you're going to do something? Um, now, I'm starting this as a loaded question. None of us want to quit on ourselves. None of us want to be known as a quitter. We all want to say what we mean what we say. But that's, in my experience, few and far between in the people you meet. Very few people are like that. Most people find a way to dismiss themselves from having to do what they said they were going to do. So one way I think that is fundamental to not becoming that person, to not being the guy that says I'm going to do something, and then when you don't do it, you come up with a reason, excuse, explanation. You can call it whatever you want. The question is, did you do it? And the answer is no, but. And then there's this long-winded thing that comes and explains or excuses or dismisses or gives the reason and rationale why you didn't do what you said you were going to do. When the opposite is true, when you do what you said you're going to do, someone says, did you do that thing? You say yes. There's not another word that needs to be said. There's no long-winded explanation of why or how or any of it. It's just, yeah, I did what I said I was going to do. I set this goal and I achieved this goal. That's the end of it. There's nothing more to be said. So how to be that guy as opposed to the guy that has this, well, I said I was going to do this, but, and then there's this long explanation of all the things that happened and the circumstances, and you get the point here. So it's very simple, but very hard. If you want to be someone who does what they say they're going to do, then next time you choose something that you say you want to do, make sure that it is something you want to do. Now that sounds really axiomatic, but we don't do that. We don't really check ourselves first to see who we are and if we really are going to want that thing. Because when we choose something that isn't based on who we are, and we say we want that, I want $1 million. I want a new car. I want that girl. I want this achievement. But it's not in line with who we really are. Our chances of actually following through are low, and our chances of quitting are high. And we'll have that explanation. If you can do this first, step one, take a lot of time to be extremely honest and penetrating with yourself, to find out who you are. If you know who you are, then you won't choose things that you're going to quit on. You'll choose things that you actually want. And even when it gets super hard, you'll still want them because you chose them based on who you are inside. And to do that, though, you have to know who you are. And that's a whole nother thing, but it's important. And if you don't recognize that, you better do that first before you start choosing things that you're going to set up as goals in your life. You're going to be that guy. You're going to be another one of those people that always doesn't do what they say they're going to do. So step one, if we don't want to be that guy, we got to know who we are. We got to try. We got to get closer and closer and closer to that all the time. You know, you're never just one thing. You're always becoming something. But the more you know who you are, the less likely you're going to choose something that isn't in line with that. That's what all these people that aren't doing what they said they're going to do have chosen things that they don't really care about. They'd like to have them. It'd be nice. It'd be nice to bench 500. I'd like bigger arms. I'd like that, to date that girl. That's not the same as knowing who you are and choosing what you want based on who you are, not what tickles your fancy or what's shiny that's in front of you. So there's a way to not guarantee, but to. There's my cat agreeing with me. Did you hear him? He's agreeing. He knows I'm right. The universe agrees with me. That's proof. If you know who you are, you will choose things that are in line with that. And when you choose things that are in line with what you really want, you will work your ass off to achieve them. You won't quit. It's unlikely that you'll quit. So if you want to be the guy that is unlikely to quit, you had better choose things that you're unlikely to quit on. And those are the things that are in line with who you are. So you better figure out who you are. Or at least who you want to be. I think it's more important to decide who we want to be and attack that than to discover who we are and feel like we're stuck with that. But it starts with introspection. That's my point here. If you want to be a guy that never quits, ever, on anything you set out to do, then you should know who you are first. And the things that you choose to set out to do will be in line with who you are. And it will be very hard for you to quit on yourself then. So it's not a guarantee of how to, make sure you don't quit. But man, does it make it a lot less likely that you will ever quit. He agrees. The universe agrees. I'm right, you see? So think about that and then explore ways to discover yourself and to look at who you are inside before you set your next goal. And I'll bet on you. I'll bet you don't quit if you set that goal based on who you are. It sounds overly simplified, but it's really hard to do. Very few people have done it. And that's why very few people are known to be relentless and that never quit on anything. There's only a few people like that you know. And those people know who they are. And they attack things that they really want based on that. And so therefore they never quit. If you want to be like that, you got to start with step one. You got to start looking at who you are. And that's a hard thing to do, I understand. It's hard for all of us. And it's always hard. It never gets easy. But it's essential. Start there, and you won't quit.